Hey, how's it going, guys? Today I'm going to do something I mentioned back in my Seahawks off-topic end-of-year review video kind of thing. In that, I said I wanted to do a Mariners season preview and a season finale recap, and this is that. If you're a baseball fan, you may have noticed the season already started, so it's a bit weird, right, to do a video now. Well, the reason I did this is because there's a few new faces at the Mariners. I really didn't know the team that was coming in that well, so I kind of wanted to see them play a bit before I did a video saying what I thought they could do, which I've now done. I went to my first live action game. As you can see, I got an Ichiro bobblehead, dual bobblehead, and the Mariners won 10-5. The King, Felix Hernandez, got the win, and Ichiro, the great Ichiro Suzuki, in his last at-bat, maybe ever in Safeco Field, unfortunately as a Miami Marlin, he came up to bat, he hit a home run, I gave him a standing ovation, the stadium gave him a standing ovation, because I love Ichiro. So glad to have that bobblehead on the shelf. It's just nice seeing him again. He's one of the people who got me inspired into loving baseball in the first place, so it was really great to see him play today. But cutting right to the chase, the Mariners are 7-9. And I feel like I don't know what this team is, really. So they started the year by going 2 of 8, which is not good at all. And now they've won 5 of their past 6 games, so things are looking up. But these are 2 really different stretches, and I don't know which team is the real Seattle Mariners. So I'm going to say it's the good one. I'm going to believe the rosier side rather than the negative side, even though history shows me I should probably believe the negative side when it comes to the Seattle Mariners. But I'm going positive. The 2017 Seattle Mariners seem to have a lot of fresh faces. You got Mitch Hanak, Gerard Dyson, Drew Smiley, who hasn't pitched a game for us, but we have him. Gene Segura, who is currently injured, but he's going to be back in like a few days. There's Heredia, but I think Heredia was here during the end of last season, and Danny Valencia. I'm curious if I do my recap if I remember the name Danny Valencia, because he's not having a great start to the season. But let's get to what I see about this team and where I think they can go. Now, it's hard to talk about this like I did the Seahawks one. I went position group by position group. So I'm going to talk about more in generalities and not get really stuck into the nitty-gritty stuff. Like, let's talk about hitting. The hitting right now seems decent. There are a few players right now in the starting lineup that aren't having the best hitting seasons. That'd be Mike Zunino, Danny Valencia, Leonis Martin. And while I think Mike Zunino, that's a bit expected, I think he can improve a little bit. I think he'll get better. Leonis Martin, I think he's in a slump. I'm not sure if he can get out of it. This is exactly what I saw out of him the end of last season, and it's not looking great. And Danny Valencia, we'll see if we remember Danny Valencia at the end of the season. So now that I say that, he's probably going to have a stretch where I think he's the greatest thing ever, but, you know, whatever. But we also have some guys that are hitting pretty damn well, like Mitch Hanak. Mitch Hanak is an outfielder that we got from the Arizona Diamondbacks, and now he's come here, and he's just lit it up right now. He's on a 17-hit streak. That's great news. He's had a few home runs. He stole a home run. We're going to talk about that in defense, but that was pretty exciting. Hanak was just knocking it all around. He was on base 5 times today, which is crazy. We have our big 3, which is Nelson Cruz, Robinson Cano, and Kyle Seager. Cano is our second baseman, Kyle Seager is our third baseman, and Nelson Cruz is our designated hitter. These guys are starting to heat up, and when they really get going to the season, they all have their stretches where they're the fucking best. Hitting home runs all over the goddamn place. I can't wait to see that. I have total faith in Cano, Cruz, and Seager. They've been doing this for years, and year after year, they just keep hitting, and they keep hitting, and they're on track, you know? I mean, it's the same as every season with them. Who else we got that's hitting good? Most of the other guys in the lineup, there's not a whole bunch to say. They could be better, they could be worse, but I'll take what I get with them. As a hitting team, I still expect this team to hit a lot of home runs. This team has historically hit a lot of home runs in the past. The past 2 years, they've been a home run team. Though I'm welcome to that changing because they have got some more speed on the base paths, and that is really exciting. Defense, let's talk about that. The Mariners' defense is hard to judge right now. Kyle Seager and Robinson Cano are Gold Glove infielders. They are top-notch at their position. There's nothing to worry about there. Kyle Seager makes some crazy plays every year. I'm sure we're going to see more of that. No reason to think that that's going to fall off. The outfield has speed like they have not had speed before. There's a lot of good things to see in the outfield. You have Mike Zunino, who is our catcher. He's really good at stopping the ball. He doesn't have a lot of wild pitches or errors like that. So I feel comfortable with him. Where I'm not comfortable right now is shortstop and first base. And shortstop, that is a little bit because Jean Segura is injured, as I mentioned a few times already. He's one of our premier players right now, so it's really hard to judge this team's defense without him. He's not really a great otherworldly defender, but I mean, it is his everyday job. Right now, we have at shortstop isn't terrible, but it really feels like a shaky position right now defensively, so we'll see about that going forward. I'm worried about that a little bit. It's not like a make or break thing. I don't know how much that's worth, but it's worth something. And lastly is first base. I don't know how I'm feeling about Danny Valencia. I don't know how long the team is going to stick with him there. Maybe we'll see someone like Taylor Motter take over there, but I haven't seen him play first base. I think that's more of a natural position for him. But I gotta see it to really know. Really, with first base, I'm willing just to take anyone who can hit. I'm not super worried about that. The defense overall looks pretty solid, but it's not something I'm gonna say like it's a strength of the team. Moving on, let's talk about pitching. So we got two kinds of pitchers. We got starting pitchers and we got relief pitchers. And we're gonna talk about the starting pitchers first. Right now, the Mariners starting rotation is, and I'm gonna say this because I want to see what it's like looking back at the beginning of the season. Currently, it's Felix Hernandez, followed by James Paxton, Hisashi Iwakuma, Ariel Miranda, and Guayarpe. He's a new guy, so I don't really remember how to say his name. We'll see if he sticks around. Drew Smiley is supposed to be our fourth starter, where Ariel Miranda is pitching, but he's injured and on the 60-day injury list, so we'll see what happens. And then quickly flipping that to relief pitching. Relief pitching has been mixed. It's hard to say because there's more than a few relief pitchers that aren't really available right now. Zick has just gotten back, who's one of our pitchers from last year, who was pretty goddamn good. Steve Cishek, our closer from last year, he's been injured most of the time, so really can't say much about him. Right now, it doesn't look really good at times. Other times, it can lock down a game. It's really hard to tell. They're temperamental and inconsistent, which is not something you want out of your bullpen. We'll see how it goes going forward, if some of these guys can settle down. And the last guy I'm going to mention is Edwin Diaz, our current closer. He throws hot fire, and I'm excited about him. So far, I think he blew one save, but then we won anyway, so there's that. We'll see what that's like going forward, but hopefully he can just stay on track. He's young. He's barely had his first year yet, but we're going to keep going on this track. Okay, now that I've rounded up the positions and the phases of the game, let's talk about just the overall expectation for this team. Now, if you don't know, because you're not a Mariners fan and like being happy, the Mariners have not made the playoffs since 2001, which is 16 years ago. In 2001, they won 116 games. 116 games, tying the record for most wins by a Major League Baseball team in a season with the Chicago Cubs way back when. That team lost the American League Championship Series, and ever since then, we've just been broken. So the expectation every single year right now for a Mariners fan is go to the fucking playoffs. This drought is the longest current running drought in Major League Baseball. Every other single team, all 29 of them, have been to the playoffs before the Seattle Mariners. There is a bar. That bar is set at playoffs. If there's anything under that, the season is a failure, no matter how good I feel about the season at the end. The past 3 seasons, they have been so agonizingly close to being a playoff team. In 2014, they had a game, and they would have been in the playoffs. They have been agonizingly close, just on the edge of being a playoff team for the past 3 years. And this year, they have to be a playoff team. They need to do that. I think they can. I think they have the speed, the youth, the hitting ability, and the starting pitchers to do that, especially if we get Drew Smiley back and he stays healthy. We have the tools and the ability to make the playoffs. That is the expectation. That is what I want to see. So, to summarize this all up, the Mariners need to make the playoffs. I think they can do it. They have the hitting ability, they have the power bats in their lineup, and they have the pitching staff to do it. Their defense is okay, not great, but not terrible. And their bullpen is shaky, but there is signs that it could be getting better in the future. I have hope, and I've had hope for the past 3 years, but this feels like the most tangible it's been in a while. There has been an infusion of youth and spirit into this team that is just encouraging to see. Right now, we are 16 games into the season out of 162. Hopefully, there's going to be a little more than 162 for us Seattle fans, but it's the Mariners. Thank you so much for sticking with me to watch this video. You may notice in the future, videos are going to slow down a little bit. I've restarted school. I'm close to getting my associate's degree, so that's going to slow things down a little bit. Maybe in June, it'll pick back up to where it used to be. But right now, videos are going to be a little harder to get out. So, I'll do what I can. And hopefully you'll stick with me to figure that out. So, whatever. I don't really know. But thank you for watching. And I just want to say, go Mariners.
We've been doing this for so long, and yet it's come to this. We feel you've been treating us wrong, yet you sit there and insist.